Hello, everyone.
She's there. Ashley Mannheim is there. Ashley M is our ambassador.
Hi, Ashley.
Hello.
Nice to meet you.
You too.
Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming. We're excited to have you share a little bit more about yourself.
Yay.
Awesome. And hello to everyone else. Hi, Jeff.
Hey guys,
Hi. How's Massachusetts treating you?
it's hot. It's hot out here today. It's about 90 degrees. So
Wow.
yeah,
That's funny. It's cooling down here.
yeah.
There you go. And hello to Rachel. That's one of our interns. And to these new parents today. Hello, Gwen, Linda. Hello.
Glad you can make it.
Yes.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me.
And for those of you that don't know, Jeff Snyder is really been a huge part of our Lunch and Learn since before the schools closed, early pandemic. He's an advocate. He helps so many of our families, and he was on our Living Autistically panel from our Neuroscience Conference, the last one we did in person, and helps us all the time with really being, and he has evolved into a huge advocate that has an impact far reaching. I would say, I don't even know for sure nationally, if not internationally, Jeff. You're really impressing me all the time with all the work that you're doing. So thank you for being here too. And I just wanted to make sure everyone knew who you were. So a lot of times Jeff types in and reaches out to everybody while they're talking to you. So, thank you, Jeff, for being here. Hi, Karen.
Well, I'll go ahead and get started and then add people as they come in. And hello to everyone who's watching our recording at home as well. We are so happy that you're here to join us today. Our weekly Lunch and Learns. This is like our highlight of the week. Dana and I love doing this. If you're new here, I'm Rebecca Barron. I'm the Director of Operations at Autism Tree, and Dana is our Executive Director. So she'll do the intro for our guest speakers a little bit later today as well. A couple Zoom rules for those of you who are new or haven't joined in a while. As a refresher, please mute yourself when you're not speaking. We recommend speaker view for presentation. Video sharing is optional, though we love to see all your faces and your smiling faces. We really like to take this time to connect with each one of you face to face. Please type all questions and comments into the chat. We will have a Q&A at the end. Once our guest speaker is done speaking, they will open it up to questions. You can feel free to unmute yourself, ask any questions that you like, or you can type them into the chat and I can read them for you. I will moderate the chat as well. A quick update from Autism Tree on the day-to-day weekly work that we're doing at Autism Tree. We've now reached over 693,000 people across all of our social media channels. So thanks to everyone who is following us. We're on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, obviously. So all of the platforms. We have now posted 85 of these Lunch and Learns to date are available on our YouTube channel. They're all recorded. They're about 45 minutes to an hour. Each of them, we feature a different guest speaker each week. We use these as resources every day for our families, for a lot of parents. I can't even pick a favorite. There's too many amazing Lunch and Learns, so I highly recommend you check them out and subscribe because we do post these every Wednesday. Since January of this year, we've already coordinated 100 events, which is amazing. Typically, each year we do over 200 events, so we're right on schedule being the middle of the year. We've already done 100 events for our families in San Diego County. This also includes virtually. Families can join in from anywhere. We have 44 events coming up between now and the end of the year that we constantly add new events every single month. So always keep a lookout on our website, event calendar, or our Facebook, our social media to see what's coming up. We offer 19 programs for those of you who are new. We offer all of our programs for free. for Families for Autism. 10 of them right now, we have been able to transition back to in-person or on a hybrid format. So we have 10 virtual, 10 in person. We have 462 impact videos on our YouTube channel. So we've really grown our YouTube presence during the pandemic. That's been one of the major blessings during this. And we've posted 400 videos since March of last year, which has all been incredible videos from our volunteer community, and just a great way to brighten your day or keep yourself inspired, or have ideas on what you can do with your kids and family at home. So thanks to everyone who's been joining us. A special thank you to our Lunch and Learn sponsor, CalABLE, who are here today to answer all of your questions. We also recommend checking out their last week's CalABLE Q&A that we did. Highly recommend it. And we're very fortunate to have them today again. That's their website. So without further ado, I'll pass it on to Dana Hoff, our executive director, who will say a few words before passing it to our guest speaker.
Hi, everybody. It's such an honor and pleasure to be here today. I cannot believe that we're in July and that we're already, 2 years into doing Lunch and Learns. And it's been probably my favorite thing that's happened as a result of the pandemic. And I'm so grateful that we've been able to find a way to stay positive and to grow and to move forward. There's a few things I want to share with you. I really want to give a lot of gratitude to Rebecca and her team. It is a tremendous amount of work for us to bring on new families. It takes probably a month at least in the process of really finding out where they are with their diagnosis, what the issues are with each of their individual children. We really listen to the parents or the primary caregiver. Autism Tree has been serving one family at a time for 19 years. We're turning 20 and we're going into our second generation of children. We serve over a couple hundred teenagers actively with all of our programs. And I want to give everyone an understanding that the staff here is doing an incredible job with taking in new families. Last year, we took in 260 new families. And like I mentioned, it's a long process. And, I went through that myself as a new parent 19 years ago. And I don't ever get immune to what it feels like. So if you are a new parent, I just want you to know my heartbeat is always there with you. This year alone, we're mid-year, we've done almost as many intakes as we did last year. So it is just remarkable to me, the amount of work that is being done every day over here. And the other thing I wanted to share, like Rebecca already highlighted, is all the programs that we're doing and how many are starting to come back in person. 8 years now, it'll be our 8th year of doing the Bridges to the Beach camp, which is next week. There's no way I could exaggerate how much that camp means to families and to siblings. We have many families that donate and say, I really, really want to make sure you do the camp because my daughter with autism goes and her 3 siblings go and they help out. And it's like the highlight of the family's summer. On this Lunch and Learn, I want to make a note to have Rebecca send an article that recently went out with 8 summer camps that are in San Diego for autistic children. And we're the only one that is free of charge. These camps can cost hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. And when I was a new parent, that used to make me so upset that it would cost like 2-3 times more. Whatever was going on that I was doing with my son would cost so much more. So I'm very thankful that we do not have to charge you as families, and we work very hard all year to make sure everyone's paying it forward and giving back, because we can only do that if we keep getting funding. And on that note, I want to share some really exciting news that we have a board member who's done an incredible amount of work for over 1.5 years with navigating neurodiversity. He has a young son with autism, and his little 3-year-old daughter just got diagnosed with autism. He actually has 4 children, and one of them is a newborn. I don't know how he does it, but he works for DPR Construction, and he got us a grant for $10,000 to pilot a program where we have Michelle McGowan, who's an advocate, she spent 5 hours with 22 families on that grant and really helped navigate getting services, IEP, and out of those 22 families, 4 families qualified for IHSS, and they were now getting $4,000 a month, which is huge. So I bring these things up because whatever we can do for new families, we are doing it. That is our heartbeat right now. We just got funding to do another $10,000 this year, but our goal with funding, it would cost us $100,000. It would be $225,000. It's $1,015,000, over $1,000 a family to give them 9 hours of services. So we learned in the first year, I don't want to confuse you, in the first year with 22 families, we learned 5 hours is not enough to help a new family. And what was a blessing is Rebecca and I recently were on a call with an advocate in another state, and she does that for a living. And she also is a parent. She said that in her research, a new family spends about 120 hours trying to figure out the diagnosis, trying to figure out the IEP, trying to figure out how to get services. So it was very validating when she said that she charges $3,000 to help a family do that. So what our advocate and our program, what we're doing is well under market value. And we are so thankful. We literally just found out we got this grant from DPR. So if you're a family that can qualify, you have to qualify for us to give this program. It has to be, meet some guidelines. But if you can qualify, we are taking on new families for this Navigating Neurodiversity program. And once again, right now we have funding, $225,000 would be for 200 families. We have $10,000. So we're going to be able to fund, whatever that covers, probably around 8 families to start with, but that is something we're actively working on. And then the final thing I want to say to you is just if you have not checked out our Neuroscience Conference from last year that is held on UCTV, we couldn't even be more proud of the amount of views that we're getting. It just keeps going up every month from UCTV. We're currently at 82,000 views. And we're doing a hybrid conference this year in November. And we're just thrilled. And we're also, excited for many of you to either come this year virtually, or many of you might actually get to come in person in San Diego at the Sanford Consortium for Regenerative Medicine. I'm really, really blessed by this relationship with CalABLE. I'm so excited that Dante and Anne, who are on here today, are going to be coming in next month, and we're going to be able to meet in person, and we're going to be able to show them our team and the work that we do here in San Diego with the Neuroscience Conference and the people, our chairman and our moderator. So today I just want to give everyone a big virtual hug and say I'm really, really proud of the work that we're all doing together. And if you're a new family, just know that's what our heartbeat is all about, is your children, is your family. We, everyone always says Autism Tree is just one big family. So welcome to the family. And I'll turn it over to CalABLE. Thank you so much for being our sponsor and being part of our family.
Thank you, Dana and Rebecca. I'm just so impressed by your organization and the work that you all do. It is just incredible the amount of content that you create and disseminate. And it's part of the reason why CalABLE sees you as the perfect partner to help us get the word out about our program. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dante Allen. I'm Executive Director for CalABLE. CalABLE is the state of California qualified ABLE program. And an ABLE program is a savings and investment account specifically for people with disabilities of all types to be able to save and potentially grow their money, especially beyond some of the benefits programs, the resource limits that folks with disabilities often bump up against. But it's not just for people who are receiving benefits. And I think that it's important that I articulate that. And one of the things that Dana said struck her when we spoke last week is that I talked about the fact that I am a person with a disability. I work full time. I earn in excess of what would qualify me for any benefits program. But yet and still, I have a CalABLE account of my own. Part of the reason why I did that is because CalABLE accounts are a very flexible way to be able to save and grow your money and also have access to that money at any time to use for qualified disability expenses. If you're familiar with other savings products like a Roth IRA, you know that you can put money into that account and that money can grow. But if you want to withdraw it and you haven't reached their age requirement, I think 55 is the age requirement, you're taxed and you're penalized pretty heavily to access that money. So CalABLE has been a great benefit for me. I'm going to share my slides. Hopefully you can see that screen.
Yes, it looks great.
Great. So I want to talk a little bit about the basics of CalABLE, but I'm really going to go into the nuts and bolts of how the program works today. If there are any repeat visitors from last week, that's great. Bear with me for just a few minutes, but then we'll go into some stuff that we didn't cover last time. I imagine if you're able to plan for your future rather than live day by day, you have the opportunity to save for whatever you want to. What would that be? You could save maybe for to go on a vacation or buy a home or get your first car or even move out for the first time. Or maybe it's something as simple as going to a restaurant every now and again. All of those things may have been prevented in the past for people with disabilities, but they're available through CalABLE. And CalABLE is a tax advantage savings and investment program for people with disabilities. It's offered by the state of California. I'm a state of California employee, and so is the entire CalABLE team. And the way that you open and operate your CalABLE account is through our online portal. It's not like going to the bank and going to your branch and saying, hey, I want to open up one of these CalABLE accounts. Most likely they won't know what you're talking about. ABLE accounts are only offered through state entities. And so California's program is CalABLE. And if you visit calable.ca.gov, you could, in addition to getting information that you needed to get started, you could actually begin your enrollment process. And if you started enrolling right now, you'd have your CalABLE account open before the end of today's Lunch and Learn. It's really a quick and simple process that you really only need a few things, and I'll go over those in just a few minutes. I talked about the asset limits of programs being limited. For example, if you receive SSI, you know that you can only have about $2,000 in savings. And if you exceed that $2,000, the first thing that'll happen is you'll get a letter from Social Security, and they'll tell you, you need to spend that money down below that $2,000, or we're going to help you to spend it down by discontinuing your benefit until you get below that $2,000. So the only money that you'll have to live on is that extra money that you had saved up. And what that did is that put a significant limit on what people were able to save and plan for their future. So there are studies that show that individuals with disabilities have more problems than the rest of the population in overcoming an unexpected expense of more than $2,000. This is a big, big reason why. Not everyone with a disability needs to follow SSI rules, but this is something that impacts a large number of folks because they're prohibited against exceeding those amounts. Well, the Federal ABLE Act passed in 2014, and it was designed to give people with disabilities a leg up. It's modeled after college savings programs, 529 accounts. I don't know if you're familiar with, but when those programs launched, it really changed the game for people who were saving for college. As of last year, nearly 15 million people were saving in college savings accounts nationwide for a total of $425 billion. Now that's money that they can grow tax-free and then use for higher education expenses. And so there was an idea of, what if we did something similar, but instead of saving just for college expenses, we made it for a particular population, people with disabilities, and you could save it for the higher cost of living a life with a disability. Because we all know, no matter what the disability is, I have a physical disability, so I pay for things like I have a wheelchair accessible van. It's a $70,000 van. It's not a Mercedes, but it is the basics of what I need to get me where I need to go. If I wanted to buy an average car, I think the average price of the car is somewhere around $35,000. So I essentially bought two average size cars just to drive the one that suits my needs. If it's for folks with developmental disabilities, there may be additional costs for either therapy or assistive technology. Just, you can imagine that there are many costs that really add up for people with disabilities that the rest of the population doesn't have to deal with in the same way. And so ABLE accounts were meant to try and level that playing field. So why should you save with an ABLE account? Well, first and foremost, you can save and invest your money and potentially grow it tax-free. Any earnings that you make in your ABLE account, you don't pay taxes as long as the money's in the account. You don't pay taxes when you withdraw the money from the account, as long as it's used for qualified expenses. And those qualified expenses are really broad in what you can do. It's anything that impacts your health, your independence, or your quality of life. And so with those three broad categories, it's really just about anything that you can imagine spending that money on. With CalABLE, we have three professionally managed investment portfolios that you can grow your money on. Historically, the markets have done very well. We happen to be in one of those turbulent times with inflation rising, with uncertainty across the globe. Things are, we're not seeing the widespread growth that we had. But still, if you look at the long-term opportunities, that there may be more opportunity to grow your money than the reverse of that. And then the final thing is that individuals on means-tested benefits can save up to $100,000 without the risk of losing their benefits. Now, that's a very big difference from the $2,000 that I said. If you don't have an ABLE account and you're receiving SSI, just $2,000 would put you over their limits to say you need to spend that money down. With an ABLE account, everything in it up to $100,000 is completely disregarded. And if you're not worried about maintaining your benefits, you can actually grow your ABLE account to be much, much higher. You can actually continue contributing until you get to over $529,000 into an ABLE account. Who's eligible? First and foremost, you have to have a disability. We use the same definition of disability that the Social Security Administration uses in their list of compassionate allowances, or the Blue Book. So that includes physical disabilities, developmental, intellectual, even many mental health conditions would qualify you to open an ABLE account, provided that the onset of that disability began before your 26th birthday. Now, if you meet that requirement, that you have a disability that began before age 26, and you're already receiving benefits or have been qualified for benefits like SSI or SSDI, you can go to the website, open the account. Like I said, within about 20 minutes or so, you'll have your CalABLE account up and running. But you're not required to be receiving benefits. I gave myself as an example. And in that case, you just have to go through a few more steps. You can still open an account. We call it self-certification, where you just have to attest under penalty of perjury that you do have a disability. It did begin before age 26, and it serves as a functional limitation that would last a year or longer. Not a very difficult process. We ask you to get a letter from a physician, but we don't ask you to turn that into us. We just ask you to hold on to it just in case you're ever asked, whether it's by the IRS or by Social Security. We want you to have proof that you're actually eligible to open the account. Now, the accounts work by protecting your assets. You can have savings that go well above any resource limits. You can choose to put your money in an FDIC insured portfolio, or you can choose to invest and grow your money. The earnings are tax-free as long as when you pull the money out, you're using it for qualified disability expenses. And anyone can contribute to an individual's CalABLE account. Just need to know that the beneficiary, the person with the disability, can only have one CalABLE account at a time, and you're limited to how much you can put into that account. It's $16,000 per year. Like I said, if you're receiving benefits, it can go up to $129,000. If you're not worried about benefits, you can go above $500,000 contributing to your account. And even then, once you get above $529,000, your account can still continue to grow. You're just not able to continue to contribute to it. I wanted to introduce you. 2 years ago, we started an ambassador program. We wanted to have real people who are using CalABLE accounts that can tell you the stories that may be more beneficial than I could ever do as an employee of the program, but really to get an idea of how people are using these accounts. Ashley Mannheim actually joined in the 2022 class of CalABLE ambassadors, and she is the mother of Dylan. He's a 9-year-old boy with autism and a rare chromosomal condition. And so Ashley has been a great role model in sharing her story about how she and Dylan are navigating CalABLE. And I really wanted to give you the opportunity to get to know Ashley. So I'll turn it over to Ashley, and I'll stop the share so you can actually see her much better than just the picture of her.
Hello.
Hi, Ashley. I'm going to spotlight you.
Hey. Oh, it's too bright. No, I'm just kidding. Well, I just wanted to share a little bit about myself. My name's Ashley. I have a son named Dylan. Like we heard, he has autism and rare chromosome duplication. The chromosome issue has led to what's called hypotonia. Some of you are familiar with that, or myopathy. His muscles getting weaker and not working. And then, of course, as everybody who works with someone with autism knows, he's also limited by some of his sensory issues. So we're just having some challenges sometimes, getting fitted for wheelchairs and doing our PT and all those things. Those two conditions, sometimes kind of overlap in a complicated way. But the whole process of getting Dylan diagnosed, I was so touched when you guys were talking about it earlier, that sort of overwhelming feeling you get when, I remember that whole list. People were like, okay, so you're going to get an IEP and you definitely want to apply for IHSS, and then you should probably apply for SSI. And then, oh, are you connected with the regional center? And that was all just like, I don't have any idea what any of those things are. And can I quit? Like, I don't want to quit being a mom to my kid, but I don't want to do any of that. That's too much. So that was a really challenging time. And one of the biggest challenges that came up for me personally was we did qualify for SSI, but I didn't understand how it worked. So like Dante was just saying, there's an income limit and it's having to do with monthly, and legitimately, I just didn't get that. So for me, I don't know, he mentioned a letter that comes at the end of the month. I never got that, but what happened to me was a year later. So we'd been on SSI for a whole year. Then when we did our review, they said, oh, these 3 months, you were over the limit, and so you owe us $600, you know? And I just totally panicked, like, I don't even know what you're talking about. I don't understand. And then so the person was able to explain to me that, you know, even if you go over just for a few days, so say I had 500 in my savings, and then my paycheck was bigger because I got sick pay or something that month. If that went to $1,501, that's $1 more than 2,000 resources that I now have. So if that went past a month, that's it. I had too many resources, you know? So to me, that was just so panicking because I thought, that's it then, right? Like I can never save money. What do you do when your car breaks down? What do you do when insurance denies the pill that your kids need? You know, these are all the things that happen to us all the time. So honestly, it was a couple of years still before I found out about CalABLE. So let's not talk about those dark days, but they were tough. They were really hard. But when I found out about CalABLE, the great part was that, like he was mentioning, it is so easy to sign up for it online. And I think maybe if you're like me, you have this little feeling of panic, like not one more program that's going to take so much paperwork. And then, you know, 2 months on the waiting list. And then they call and say, you did this one thing wrong on your form. And so you're disqualified and start over again. I mean, right? That's what we all are used to experiencing with these programs, is that they're set up to help families like us. And once you get in, they are helpful, but getting in is a mess. But this one, CalABLE, really is different. It really is like, if you've ever signed up to use an online banking app, that's what I would compare it to. You know, name, social security number, age. It's just about 10 or 15 minutes of typing. You send it in, done. It's all online. You don't have to go anywhere. You don't have to wait for anything. It's done. And so once a month or so, if we have a little bit of leftover money, anything from like $5 to $1,000, doesn't matter, I will just go and get on that website and click contribute. And that's all I have to do. It takes it out of my bank account, puts it into CalABLE. That's it. It's just been so crazy. Like the first couple of times I thought, oh, I'm going to wait for the horrible call, right? The call, like, you did it wrong and you've disqualified and your whole life is over. But that never came. And then even the first time I went to use it, like, again, I had another little mini panic attack because I was so scared I was going to do it wrong. My son's wheelchair got bigger, so we needed a bigger car. And like Dante was mentioning, you know, if it's a car for your wheelchair, you have to buy a much more expensive car than you would, not because you want it fancy. The car we ended up getting has a bunch of those like horrible paint, sun damage things all over it, but I don't care, whatever. It fits the wheelchair. That's what I wanted. And so it was kind of expensive, and I had a certain amount set aside, and then I needed more suddenly. And I thought, oh, great, I did the take the money out, but I messed it up and I need 1,000 more. And I was so panicked. But again, it was really so easy. It was just click in. I said, I need 1,000 more. And this time I decided, I'd done it on a Visa card the first time, but this time I decided just to have a check mailed to the guy I was buying it from. And that's all I had to do. Like, it literally, the check just showed up in his mailbox, the extra $1,000. That was it. So I was so relieved. And it really is, like, honestly, it's so easy. It's suspicious, but that's just because we've had probably all some bad experiences where things were so much more complicated than we expected. So I really, really recommend it as a program that's basically kind of too good to be true, except for that it actually is true. And for me and my son, it's been a huge blessing. Right now, what we're saving up for is he really wants a service dog. And it's going to have to be a very particular dog. He's afraid of barking. He's afraid of dogs that jump. So we're looking at a couple different programs that train dogs. And apparently that, I didn't know this was possible, but you can train a dog not to bark or jump ever. So you can even train it. This is the part he's really excited about it. Forgive me, but if you're fellow parents, you won't be grossed out. You can train it to only go to the bathroom when you tell it to. So for Dylan, that's like the best dream he could ever have, a dog that's like that. So I'll let you know if it's true, but that is what the organizations claim. It's just very expensive. So we're saving up for that dog right now. And we've been so thankful to have CalABLE come into our life and be the rare program, which sounds like maybe your Autism Tree program is one of those, which is cool, but the rare program where it was so much easier than we expected and so much more helpful than we expected. So I really recommend anyone who's interested to join it. Thanks.
Ashley, thank you so much. I just feel like I've been with CalABLE for 4 years. I was actually here before the program opened and launched to the public. I was part of the launch of the actual program. And you talk about it so much better than I do. I feel like it's just the way that I can be sort of esoteric, but you bring it right to home. And I really hope that that resonates with the folks that are listening. Let me talk about what you need to open a CalABLE account. It's not a lot. You need web access. Like Ashley said, like I've said, this is an online program, very similar to online banking. You'll get a user ID, you'll get a password. We do lots of the same security measures that online banking does, including the two-factor authentication, where they send an email to you when you log in just to make sure that you're you and you're accessing your money. So we have a lot of those safety precautions. You'll need to share your social security number, date of birth, and contact information. There's a larger ID verification process, but that goes on in the background. So all you need to do is show those few things, and they'll figure out that you're you and not just somebody that has your information. So again, really simple. You need a minimum deposit of just $25. And that $25, it's not an enrollment fee. That stays your money. It goes directly into your account. So there is no enrollment fee. There are fees associated with a CalABLE account, and they're very comparable, I would say, to a standard commercial banking checking or savings account. There's an annual fee of just $37. It's taken out in monthly installments of just over $3. And then there can be additional fees depending on how you choose. If you choose to invest and grow your money, there are some underlying investment fees. But again, they're very, very small in comparison to the opportunity that's presented to you. CalABLE recommends linking your bank account to your CalABLE account. So like in Ashley's case, when it was time to buy a car, she could actually transfer money either to her bank account or even have CalABLE send a check to the person she was buying the car from. That makes it really easy. And again, we have safety precautions to make sure that money from your ABLE account isn't going to some far off country and who knows whose bank account. We actually verify that it's your account before we actually create that link. So depositing and withdrawing funds are very easy. I just talked about 2 ways that you can do it. A third way that you can do it is that we have offered a prepaid Visa card. We're actually in the process right now of switching vendors to make it really easy to where it'll all be included when you log on to your CalABLE account. Right now, there's a separate vendor. You have to go to a separate web page when you want to put money onto the card from your CalABLE account and then use it everywhere that Visa is accepted. But very soon we'll be launching the new card. So that's a great way to easily access your funds in your ABLE account. We also have an e-gifting portal, and this is one of the great things about a CalABLE account. Remember, I said that anyone can contribute to an individual's CalABLE account. So for Dylan, for his birthday this year, if Ashley wanted to, she could say to friends and family, hey, you know what? You've asked to help me in other times, and really because of SSI, we're not able, Dylan's not able to accept monetary gifts directly, but he can accept money in his CalABLE account, and it's not counted against his benefits. And so we have a portal that works kind of like a GoFundMe, where you can say, hey, I'm saving for this particular assistive technology or whatever you're saving for. And it gives a unique link where folks can contribute directly to that CalABLE account, to Dylan's CalABLE account. And we've had presentations before where we've used our ambassadors, and we have one of our ambassadors who is autistic, and he's going to Georgia Tech right now. And in the middle of the presentation, he said, if anybody wants to contribute to my CalABLE account, I was like, that is what I'm talking about. Never miss an opportunity to build your financial future. And so it just makes it easier to save and be able to make those big purchases once you have that CalABLE account. And I know that for many of us, there are folks who would love to help, just don't know how. And so instead of new socks or new underwear, whatever you want to give for a gift, you know what, give something that will really last and be meaningful for the future. So the eGift portal is a great opportunity. We do have those professionally managed savings. We use TIAA-CREF, if you're not familiar with them. They are one of the world's largest financial investment firms. They have over $1 trillion in assets under management worldwide. They've helped develop what we consider to be a simple and easy investment portfolio based on your tolerance for risk. We have a conservative, a moderate, and an aggressive growth portfolio. Each one of them are designed, again, based on if you want to grow your money conservatively, meaning it's not going to go up too fast, not going to go down too fast, or if you want to get more aggressive and say, hey, I want to really grow my money quickly, you have the opportunity to do that with CalABLE. I talked about fees. I'm not going to go into too much detail because I want to make sure that I have plenty of time for questions, but here's an example of a CalABLE account with $3,000 in it. Like I said, if you chose just to put your money in our FDIC insured portfolio, the only thing it would cost you to operate your CalABLE account for an entire year is $37. If you chose one or any combination of our underlying of our investment portfolios with a $3,000 balance, the maximum that it would cost you to operate your CalABLE account for a year is at $37 plus the additional fees for investing, for a total of about just under $53 per year. Now, again, that's less than a lot of commercial checking or savings accounts that have, you know, expenses to talk to a teller, that have, you can only use it for so many transactions in a month, et cetera, et cetera. So again, and with those, you don't have the opportunity of potentially growing your money through investment. So we've designed CalABLE to be a very affordable program. If you have additional questions or you need some help in addition to knowing us and having friends in the CalABLE business, we have an 800 line that you can call. That's 833-CalABLE. You can send an email to calable.ca.gov. Those are open Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. And they're open and available to help you with all your questions. With that in mind, I'm going to stop the share. I'm going to turn it back over to Rebecca, and we're happy to answer any questions that folks may have.
Yes, thank you, Dante. I love everything. The eGift program, there's lots of good knowledge that you shared today, so thank you. Great. If anybody has any questions, feel free to type them in the chat. I do see a hand up. Nancy, go ahead and ask your question. You can unmute yourself. Feel free to do that.
I have two questions. Okay, regarding the debit card. Say you aren't using it and it's just empty, and then you put money in it. And do you get charged then a percentage when you put money in? How much does it cost to put money in? And if it goes back down to zero, are you still going to be paying for it since you opened it up and are using it? Does that make sense?
Yeah, there's a little variability with that, and I don't want to confuse you, but we're going to a new prepaid card. And once we introduced that, so our current prepaid card charges a fee of $1.25 per month. And that's the primary fee associated with it. So whether you use the card or not, it costs you $1.25 to have it. Whether there's money loaded on it or not, it's $1.25 per month to have the card. There are no charges for transactions. There are no charges to load money onto the card. With the card that we're going to, that fee will actually go down as long as you're regularly using the card. Instead of $1.25 per month charge, it's $0 per month for the new card, provided that you don't go more than 30 days without making a transaction. And a transaction can either be loading money onto the card or spending money with the card that you use. If you don't use the card for more than 90 days, then there's a $2 per month charge. But if you're regularly using the card, there is no charge for it. So, and there are no transaction charges or anything like that.
Okay, then my second question is, 'cause you mentioned that it helps using the CalABLE helps you keep money, like she was talking about, going over, and then you have to do your spend down. So what if a person isn't on SSI and they're on SSDI, which isn't a needs-based, but they have, they're connected to the Medi-Cal stuff. Now,
Yeah.
so that puts them in a different, like a category, right?
It does, but you're not constrained by those limits. Not sure if you're familiar with this, but Medi-Cal, as of July 1st, has expanded their resource limit. So now you can have up to $130,000 in assets, and it won't affect your Medi-Cal benefits at all. So that's a great benefit. As you mentioned, SSDI doesn't have the same resource limit as SSI does. So again, so you're not constrained by the resource limits of those benefits programs. But with the CalABLE account, you still could benefit from growing your money tax-free and still being able to access that money anytime you need.
Okay, I need clarification because you floored me. So,
Okay.
because I didn't hear about that. So you're telling me that a person who's on SSI does not have that $2,000 limit anymore?
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying if you have a CalABLE account, you wouldn't be limited by that $2,000 SSI limit. Any money in a CalABLE account up to $100,000 is not counted against that $2,000 resource limit. That limit still exists. Medi-Cal, as of July 1st of this year, has expanded their resource limit. It's not the $2,000 SSI limit. It now goes up to $130,000 for an individual. I think it's $195,000 for a family of two.
Wow. Okay. I'm still feeling like very uncomfortable with that because that's huge, right?
Big changes for sure.
Do you think our government can recognize that 2,000 for people on SSI? Because 2,000 is really sometimes people's rent.
Right. Right. It's certainly not a nest egg for things that can pop up. As a parent myself, I know that my daughter would regularly come home from school with some new expense that was totally shocking to me. So the idea that those benefits limits could change has been there. And as a matter of fact, that $2,000 limit hasn't changed. I believe it's been in about 2 decades.
Right.
And so hopefully it will be changing soon. In the meantime, we highly recommend a CalABLE account because it's one of the best, easiest, least expensive ways to be able to operate and not feel so constrained by that limit.
What is the top? If you're on SSDI, meaning, so you don't lose your, I know you've told me, Jane, Medi-Cal benefits, that you can put your money into the CalABLE. What is that limit then, what you can have in your CalABLE? So it does not affect your Medi-Cal.
Right. So that would be for an individual, that would be $130,000.
In their
Anything
their-
above that $130,000 would count against your Medi-Cal eligibility. If you're receiving SSI, it would be $100,000. Anything above that would count against that $2,000 resource limit that you have.
But the person who's on SSI, they are still limited. If they don't put it into their if they don't put it into their CalABLE account, then they still have that 2,000 limit, right?
That's correct.
Wow. Okay.
And even if you have the CalABLE account, you still have that $2,000 limit. You just have the money in your ABLE account doesn't count toward it.
Wonderful. Thank you.
I love it. And thank you, Ashley. She said Medi-Cal income change is huge and brand new. But
Yeah, brand new. It's 13 days old. But those were great questions. So thank you for those.
Yeah, thank you, Nancy. And thank you, Ashley. I gotta give a shout out to Ashley. Thank you so much. I loved everything that you were saying. And I would love for you to be more connected to our Autism Tree families. I think you have a lot of knowledge.
Well,
I
thank
can tell that you've struggled to learn. And now you're an
Let my pain be your gain.
That's what we were built on. Pay it forward. You know, that's what we do. It's connect parents to parents like you.
Thanks. I'd love to be a part of that. Dylan just wants to say hi really quick. Is that okay?
Yes,
That'd be
absolutely.
great.
Hi,
Hi,
I'm Dylan. I'm Dylan, and I have a.
Oh, I think he'll be right back.
I forgot something.
He doesn't have his glasses, so he probably can't see you very well.
Ah, there we are.
Okay.
Now, where was I?
You say a quick
Ah,
hi?
yes. This is a perplexus cube. It's like a Rubik's cube, but you have to get where this ball from and
It's okay. Just show.
from I'm trying to.
Oh, you're trying to show them?
Aha! From here to here.
Wow.
Bye. You say bye?
Bye.
There you have it.
And so Dylan is a puzzle cube aficionado. He solved a Rubik's Cube while we were going through our practice session the other day. So he's super impressive.
I want to know where he got that toy. I want one.
Amazon. Oh.
That's an amazing toy.
I love it. It was nice to meet him. Does anybody ever have any other questions, lingering questions? We still have a few minutes to spare. Karen says, Dante, you are really great at communicating the ins and outs of this fantastic program.
Thank you so much, Karen.
And Ashley is a rock star. I agree.
She is.
Wonderful. Well, I think we can wrap it up then if nobody has any further questions, but this was a lot of information as well. So if you have any additional questions that you think of in a day or so on, then you could reach out to me directly. You could reach out to the CalABLE support, of course. We will, or myself, and I can connect you to CalABLE. And we will send out a recap email with all of this information that Dante went over today, with the slides, the PowerPoint slides, and links to CalABLE's social and YouTube channel. There's a lot of great resources on there as well. So thanks to everyone. I would love to take a group picture before we go. This is tradition for us at Autism Tree. So if you'd like to show your camera, and we'd love to see your faces. Big smiles. Yay. Oh, hi, Virginia. It's one of our moms. All right. Big smiles. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Cheese. Oh. Thank you again, Dante and Anne and Ashley. We hope you all
Thank
have
you.
a great week.
You too.
Thank you all.
Take care, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
We'll see you next time.